evening and welcome to my channel. I have another story for you today based on 5 random words, of course. And this one I'm dedicating to my mother, Kathleen, on her 75th birthday, and sort of try to write something that might appeal to her. And yeah, so the words that this is based on are below. And one small note I have to give you to explain it is you may have not heard of the Scots word Birl, which means to spin round as in a dance. Anyway, this is called the Selkie's Birl. Lizzie McEwen was not the sort of lady to be told she couldn't do something. When she was 16, she sneaked out of the house to go and see Bill Haley and the Comets at the Glasgow Odeon. It had involved a lot of crafty subterfuge, buying the tickets, meeting Paul Kelly at the stop just in time for the bus, getting on the right train. The concert had been incredible, but Daddy had locked her in her room for a week after that act of defiance. His punishment had the opposite effect to that intended. Soon after, Lizzie secured her own flat, funded by her chambermaid job and evenings collecting glasses in the Thistle Bar. From then on, Lizzie never let anyone limit her, not her fisherman husband, dead for almost a decade, nor her 3 children, grown up with kids of their own. She owned Maxwell's, the seafront restaurant that was one of Ardnalty's main draws. Now, aged 79, Lizzie bought herself a rowing boat and a set of second-hand lobster creels, with the intention of tending them herself. Even Maxwell's manager, Craig McInnish, often an outspoken voice of reason, couldn't dissuade her. As Lizzie pointed out with undeniable logic, why should I pay 35 quid a kilo when I can have them for nothing? The regulations only allowed her to catch 2 lobsters and up to 10 crabs a day, and she generally only went out 2 to 3 days in a week. But in a little over a year, Lizzie calculated she'd saved the kitchen over £2,000. More importantly, she loved it. When she was out in the water, smelling the salt spray and feeling the sharpness of a northerly wind on her face, she remembered similar times with her father, out on the boat, winching silver flashing fishes up in those full nets. Those days had gone, but the sensory memories lingered, the smells, the taste of the sea, the solitude. This morning, as she backed out of Maxwell's backyard, she was irritated to see a monstrous 4x4 with a kayak on the roof, partly blocking the entrance. Lizzie honked and shouted, but nobody came. She had to edge, with extraordinary precision, around the offending monstrosity. Lizzie had a good mind to leave a sternly worded note, but decided against it. They were tourists passing through who'd ignored the signs. They'd be gone tomorrow. 10 minutes later, tramping down the slipway in her rubber waders, Lizzie stopped and took a stern look at the sea and sky. Her husband called this checking its teeth, a metaphor borrowed from animal husbandry, but fitting enough. Lizzie needed to know if the sea and sky would bear her safely the half-mile to the cove in front of which she'd submerged her pots, or rear up and buck her into the heart of the Selkie's Birl, an intermittent whirlpool current that formed in the confluence of 2 channels. The Birl had claimed a half-dozen lives since she'd lived in Ardnalty. Lizzie didn't plan to add to that statistic. Fortunately, today the sea was glassy smooth, almost strangely so, and the sky promised nothing but wispy cirrus clouds. She hauled in a tub she'd later fill with salt water to keep the live shellfish in. It really did make a difference to the taste when the chef killed the animals just prior to them going in the pot. Tossing them in alive was not an option for Lizzie. Some respect and compassion had to be shown to the creatures that starred on Maxwell's menu. Lizzie pushed off and quickly steered around the coast, sticking fairly close to the shore, checking out the flotsam. Dark rocky spurs of metamorphic rock created miniature beaches where all sorts of useful or interesting things would turn up. Lizzie had decorated the small bar at the back of the restaurant with her findings. Old floats, a doll dressed in Edwardian style, a wooden ship's ladder, a whale's jawbone. Today she spied something dark blue and vaguely familiar, balanced on a spur of rock. What was it? An upturned kayak? That didn't belong. Lizzie drifted over and carefully stretched out an oar. After 3 attempts, she knocked the kayak off its perch and it slid back into the sea, where she managed to grab hold of it and lash it to the side of her boat. She suddenly realised where she'd seen it before, the tourists who had blocked her driveway this morning. She harboured a brief, uncharitable thought, then dismissed it. They must have lost control of the vessel when setting off or beaching it. Her suspicions were confirmed when, around the next headland, midway through hauling up a successful creel of 2 lobsters and 5 crabs, she heard a woman's voice calling from around a rocky spur. Lizzie dropped the last creel back in the water and set off, noting that the sky was beginning to cloud over and a stiff breeze had sprung up. In the next cove, a V-shape of sand had formed between 2 angular spears of rock, cutting it off. A young couple were stranded on the sand, frantically waving, a picnic basket, paddle and blanket nearby, telling Lizzie all she needed to know. "Hi, can you call the Coast Guard? Our kayak—" "I know," shouted Lizzie, "I'm coming." Minutes later, Lizzie had the couple in her boat, which now sat perilously low in the water. The man had a straggly goatee and too much hair. The girl was dressed in denim shorts and some sort of crop top that revealed a lot of cleavage. Lizzie stared with a scalped her arse for wearing such an ensemble. The man looked pitifully grateful. "I'm so sorry to trouble you. We didn't see the tide coming in." The girl, blonde tousled hair, part hiding her sunburnt neck and shoulders, added, "So cool you find our canoe." "Kayak, Emily," her boyfriend added. Lizzie rolled her eyes. "Aye well, the local lifeboat's out of commission and you'd have had to wait an hour for the Portree one. Help me with these, will you?" Lizzie grabbed a crab and dropped him back into the water. The man looked confused. "We're too low in the water to chance the Birl, and the wind's pushing us north, so we have to lose whatever we can. Shame, as these are fine-looking morsels," Lizzie said. She dropped another crab, then had to grab the oars as the familiar tug of the Selkie's Birl began to tickle the bottom of the boat. The sky was now the colour of wet ash. The man liberated a couple of crabs, and his girlfriend gamely tried a lobster, but it snapped at her fingers. She shrieked and dropped the crustacean into the boat. Her boyfriend managed to scoop it up with a kayak paddle and toss it out. Then, with grunting effort, he lifted the plastic container of brine and tipped the remaining catch overboard. Lizzie had no time to mourn her restaurant profits. The Birl now had them firmly in its gyre. They were moving anti-clockwise around a darkening eye of still water. "Come on, you both need to take an oar or paddle and push hard on the right." "With the flow?" the boy queried. "I've been on these waters for half a century, so yes, with it." They mucked in, working with the Birl rather than against it, picking up speed, centrifugal force. "Now," shouted Lizzie against the storm, "when I say, other way, after 3. They reached the maximum velocity, Lizzie guessed perhaps 8 knots, before she bellowed, 3, 2, 1, go! 3 blades fought the water. Suddenly the boat slewed out of the gyre and was catapulted away over dancing waves, away from the Selkie's Birl. The boy looked mournfully back at the dark funnel of water, realising that they had lost the kayak in the maelstrom. Moments later, the Selkie's Birl swallowed the spinning plastic vessel, like a lamprey sucking down a piece of plankton. "It's good to feed the Selkie now and again," Lizzie commented, with a cheeky wink, as the couple looked on, speechless and ashen-faced. The end. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that tale of seafaring adventure, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, another one will be along shortly, probably down there on the bottom right of your screen. And thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon. Bye.